go. Good morning, everybody. It's time once again. Time for the House Whisperer Show on WWDB Talk 860. Stay tuned for expert advice about maintaining your house from the roof to the basement, featuring professional home inspector who tells us that every house has a story. Jack Milne. I'm Barry Reisman. And Jack, glad to have you back. Happy New Year.
Well, thank you, Barry. And, this is absolutely the first show of 2015.
Yes, it is. The very first one.
It was only 4 days ago. The year changed, but psychologically, 2014 slate has just been wiped clean. And now, 2015 is upon us. And, all these dire commercials are now on TV. The Eagles are done for 2014. And that means one thing in the real estate market, and that means that the real estate market is going to kick off a little bit sooner than later. So I think it's going to be time to get off those recliners and put all that holiday stuff away, and do it, please, as safely as you put them up. And my whole thing on this show is really let's get off the fence and let's tip that toe into the real estate market. It's time to sell and buy or just buy. And, believe it or not, Barry, through the years, there's always been this Eagles factor, and it's played a significant role in buying and selling of real estate. And,
Interesting.
Being a home inspector for more than 30 years, the further the birds played into the new year, the longer it took for the real estate market to take off. And if you think back to those days in the Reed area with all the NFC playoff games, the Super Bowls, I mean, the guys that around the house were kind of glued to the TV with their chips and beverage.
That's right.
And no one was coming into their homes, even though it had been on the market since October. And vice versa, no Eagles fan can leave the confines of his home to look at the new homes just listed because of this concept. So they just want to sit home. They want to watch football. Houses would continue to sit until March or April. Now, with the birds being done for the season, the house sales and listings are going to be going up in February. And, but I don't know if you've noticed it or not, but there's a lot more real estate signs on homes out there right now, and really in all price brackets. So without further ado, today's topic is it's a new year, get off the fence, and just go out and buy some real estate. But before we start, I want to thank the sponsors, because without them I wouldn't be able to chat with you today. So Bucksmont Inspections, Rob Bowie, they're out of Sellersville, Pennsylvania. They are excellent in all aspects of on-site sewage evaluation, testing, design, and repair. And you can reach them at 215-669-4213, or their website is bucksmontinspections.com. Borough Exterminating, Rob Bruno and family out of Glen Olden, Pennsylvania. I saw Rob just a few days ago. Excellent termite inspector, and they also perform radon testing. So you can reach them at 610-586-5640, and their website is boroughexterminating.com. Pest Blaster, radon, mold, wood-destroying insect inspections, pest removal. I can't say enough about this crew. They are fantastic, very user-friendly, and they know their stuff. And they're doing more and more mold testing, I guess because it's winter at this point. But if you have any concerns about mold, please reach their website at pestblaster.com or 215-295-5555. BrainFlushGear.com. I happen to have one of their shirts on today, Barry, as we speak. They're great. They're eclectic, and they can make any of your concepts work. And their email is contact@brainflushgear.com. Tri-County Inspection Company, tcinspect.com. We service 15 counties. Just the other day, I went from Westchester to Summers Point. So I am all over the place trying to help our clients out. So we're there for you. And the main number here for us is 215-295-2030. But in the Lehigh Valley, 610-346-7880. If you find yourselves in South Jersey, 856-853-4224. So please let them know you've heard they're out on the House Whisperer Show. Next week, as promised, we're going to dedicate the show to the email box. Got some great questions and hopefully appropriate answers. I love them. So please email me at thehousewhisperershow@gmail.com. Podcasts are always available at www.dbam.com, and for previous episodes, just thehousewhisperershow.com. So today's topic, get off the fence and go buy real estate. So, I'm going to open up my crystal ball here, Barry, and this is what I think. Throughout 2015, I'm going to do my best to keep you abreast of all the current trends. Right now, this minute, 30-year mortgages are just a few points more than 3%. 15-year mortgages are under 3%. I think I saw 2.6 the other day.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, this is cheap money. And and that's been approved by both Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae, and these government organizations write about 80% of all mortgages. And, just as a comparison, look at the car ads. $9,000 off a new 2014 truck. Now, granted, it's, in quote, last year's model, and no interest for 5-year commitments. Now, that's just a small comparison. But look at the rate of inflation. It got to 3.5% in 2014. This year, the Fed, which monitors everything, indicates a slow but steady raise in inflation, but they're planning to try to stick to this 3.5%. If it does go higher, so do interest rates. And inflation typically starts after hibernation is over, which is April, May, and June, which corresponds with the busy real estate market. So if you want to catch this market before it overheats, may I suggest the following? Number one, I'd like you to pre-qualify if you're young and single or engaged or recently married. And before I really kick into this, one other thing I read the other day is the unemployment rate is 5.8%. Now, unemployment never goes down below 5%. So if it's at 5.8%, government considers that fully employed. So that's another reason why you're starting to see an uptick in the market, because there's more consumers working, and if you're working, you've got money in your pocket, and it just gets the economy rolling. But let's go back to that pre-qualify if you're young, single, engaged, or recently married. Folks, the markets have changed. I talked to a young man who's looking for a house for his girlfriend. And the first question I ask is, did you get pre-qualified? He goes, Jack, I did. I said, great. What are you good for? He goes, I'm good for about $130,000. I said, what about your girlfriend? She goes, well, we're young, we want to get married, but we're thinking of having kids, so we'd rather do it just based on my income than on both our incomes. And Tommy, he's probably about 24 years old, and I said, good for you, because you want to be able to sit down with a mortgage professional and figure out what you can afford. And there's a lot of new loan restrictions. So look at it this way. If you're young, you might have car loans, student loans, credit card debt. They're going to look at work history, work hours. And, folks, there's no more overtime. It doesn't count. So as we all know, we all now have credit scores. And I know, Barry, when we grew up, there's no such thing as a credit score.
That's right.
But it plays an important role now. And rates are determined and plugged in, and all of a sudden, you can both afford a home that's, let's say, $275,000. So what great information to have. And, and just to keep in mind, at the end of this year, you may be getting a letter from your landlord who is raising your rent based on the Consumer Price Index. Folks, I'm a landlord, too, and I look at that all the time. And right now, it's 4%. So let's say, we're imagining that your $1,600 a month rent just got raised to $1,664 a month based on that 4%. Now, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's actually about $760 more per year just based on that 4%. Now, a lot of people can afford a mortgage for in and around that same money. So isn't it time now to look around for a home and plus a better investment? And for first-time home buyers, the other incentives are available now. But really, again, only a good mortgage counselor has more plans than Obama. So find one that fits you and go looking. So, Barry, why don't we take a quick break, if we may, at this point? And then when we come back, we're going to look at things from the seller's perspective.
All right, that sounds like a good idea, and we will do that. We'll be back with Jack in just a moment at WWDB. You're listening to The House Whisperer Show.
Boro Exterminating has been specializing in wood-destroying insect inspection and control for over 40 years, serving Philadelphia and the surrounding counties. All inspectors are state certified and ensure providing their clients with professional inspections and treatments. Boro not only performs conventional termite treatments, but also handles special services like historic buildings and homes with wells, creeks, or ponds. The client is assured that all treatments will be performed safely when you hire Boro to do the work. They also provide radon testing in their service area. Boro's full-time office staff is available to help you schedule an appointment. Just call 610-586-5640 or send an email request to boroinspects@verizon.net. That's 610-586-5640 or email at boroinspects@verizon.net.
Specially created t-shirts by BrainFlushGear.com offer the extreme sports enthusiast an opportunity to have a clothing line available that suits their sport. BrainFlushGear.com understands that when we get the moment where we can jump on our motorcycles, wave runners, surfboards, snowmobiles, or skateboards, it can be priceless. They offer custom artwork including silk screening, transfers, and embroidery. Speak to one of their consultants today and they'll help you create your own Brain Flush. Visit BrainFlushGear.com or email them at contact@BrainFlushGear.com.
For your septic inspection and testing needs, please consider Bucksmont Inspections. They've been serving the Bucks and Montgomery County areas for over 15 years. As members of the Pennsylvania Septic Management Association, the Pennsylvania Association of Sewage Enforcement Officers, and the Pennsylvania Association for Professional Soil Scientists, Bucksmont Inspections can inspect your existing septic system or test for your new septic system placement. Please call Rob Bowie at 215-669-4213 and say you heard their ad on the House Whisperer Show.
As the weather gets cooler and the temperatures drop, the bugs might slow down, but the rodents don't stop. Mice and rats begin to invade homes during the fall and winter months, looking for food, warmth, and a comfortable place to nest. Don't wait for pesky rodents to invade your home. Fight back. Have your home baited and ready for their attack with Pest Blaster. Whether preventative or a full-blown infestation, give Pest Blaster a call at 215-295-5555 and they can discuss the solution to your problem. They also offer humane animal removal services for a wide variety of wild animals, damage repairs, and cleanups. Call them today at 215-295-5555 or check them out at pestblaster.com, servicing both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. Pest Blaster, 215-295-5555 or pestblaster.com for all your pest control needs.
Tri-County Inspection Company has been providing professional home inspections, commercial inspections, and historic property evaluations for over 25 years. Tri-County Inspection Company covers 13 counties, serving both New Jersey and Pennsylvania. They've performed inspections for over 70,000 clients and are members of the American Society of Home Inspectors, as well as the Pennsylvania Home Inspectors Coalition. They are licensed in both Philadelphia and New Jersey. For all of your real estate transactions, call Tri-County Inspections at 215-295-2030. For their New Jersey clientele, call 856-853-4224. In PA, call 215-295-2030. In New Jersey, 856-853-4224.
And we're back with Jack Milne, the House Whisperer at WWDB, talking about buying some real estate. Great topic for today. And Jack, let's pick up where you left off.
What I have found, even through the end of 2014, is we've been busy. And normally around the holidays, things tend to slow down. And we were busy through Thanksgiving. We were busy almost right through Christmas. I mean, I worked the day before Christmas and the day after Christmas. There are a lot of investment folks that were trying to get things wrapped up before the end of the year. And I think the end of the year brings closure. And I'm ready for that too. But I love New Year's because now you get this chance to open the door and see what's ahead of you and optimism. I love optimism. And so we talked before the commercial break about sellers getting approved prior to even going out and looking for real estate because you want to know what you can afford. And it's always better to be proactive than reactive. But on the same side, what if you're a seller? My advice is this, 2 things, 2 points. We're going to talk about both of them. 1, get your house appraised and also get it inspected. Now, if you can find out what your house is worth before you list it, don't compare factual numbers versus guessing. And most realtors will give you what's called a CPA or a CMA, which is a comparative market analysis based on opinions of not only the realtor, but also, and there may be other properties that may be in the area or may not be in the area that have sold within the last 3 to 6 months. But folks, every home and circumstance is different. Having personally sold 3 houses in 2014, I wanted to know what the properties were worth now. And I don't want to know what they sold for last year or the year before. I needed accurate information. And you just can't glean these numbers from the local municipality or tax records. The other thing is the square footage is critical when appraising value. Think about it, folks. $1,800 square feet is smaller than 2,000 square feet. Now, granted, it's the equivalent of, say, a 10 by 20 foot area, but buyers know the size matters. In a few weeks, I am going to plan to have an appraiser, Jim McKissick, on the air, and I spoke to Jim about a week or so ago, and I know that he's going to advise you further. But knowing the appraised value now helps set the asking price, including the commissions to the real estate professionals. So as a seller, I now know the current asking price. Less time on the market, no elevated aspirations from the realtor to be proactive, not reactive. Plus, when your buyer has to get an appraisal, which will be required from the bank, there's no surprises. So everyone wins when information is accurate. And again, when I was down in Florida and we appraised my mother-in-law's house, it was a beautiful golf club community on the 8th hole. Folks, up in this area, this house would have sold for between $700,000 to $800,000. Down there in Florida, because the market's depressed, I had the house appraised for $335,000. I did not tell the realtor. The realtor comes in and says, well, from what I see here and based on, blah, 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 let's set the house at $385,000. And I said, well, that's fine. We'll give it 2 weeks and see what the market bears. You can never bring the price up. You can only bring the price down. We finally got an offer of $335,000, which was the appraised value. So did we waste time? No, not really. But at the same time, because it was an estate, we had to get the house prepared, and it was sold and settled by June of 2014. We put the house on the market in January. So, again, I want to hold the cards, and I think as a seller, you should hold the cards too. Information is a wonderful thing. Part 2 for a seller, I would suggest that you have a pre-listing home inspection done. In the Philadelphia market, well over 90% of all homes are being inspected. And, your buyer will hire an inspector to tell them and offer advice as to the condition of your home. Let's go back to this theory of being proactive than reactive. If you know that there are material defects, which is language written in both the Pennsylvania and New Jersey laws, you can't turn a blind eye, especially now that the purchase price has been tossed back and forth like a ping pong ball. You have to negotiate the asking price down further. Now, a material defect is defined as a problem with a residential real property or any portion of it that would have a significant adverse impact as to value of the property. And folks, the language is beautiful, but there's two things home inspectors don't know. They don't know what the purchase of the house is, and they don't know what significant mean. So in general, as home inspectors, we focus on structural, mechanical, and safety concerns, really irregardless of price. At the same time, the law goes on to say that just because a system, subsystem, or component is near, out, or beyond the end of its normal useful life is not by itself a material defect. So when I state this language to my clients every day, I always use the premise of a water heater. If it's old but still working, I can't flag it because of that. So as a seller, I think it would be wise to get a clear understanding as to the current condition of the home. And I think as a good home inspector, they may also give sound advice, like let's get the sunburst shag out of the middle bedroom and expose those hardwood floors. Let's get the paneling maybe out of the room, and we can do a skim coat to the walls and offer a fresh coat of paint. Let's update the 200 or the 100 amp service, or let's provide a credit back to your buyer. And I can give you an excellent example of what I'm referring to. In Florida, my mother's house, okay? I did my mother-in-law's earlier, but my mother's house in Pompano was a one-bedroom or a one-level condo. Now, her husband, my mom and her husband are older. They weren't feeling well, so for 2 years, this house was really left alone with the anticipation that we're going to go back down. Unfortunately, that point did not occur, and so after 2 years, when I was down in Florida assessing, and helping my mother-in-law's home, I also stopped by and checked my mother's. Folks, every valve I touched leaked. Okay, the traps were leaking, the fixtures were leaking, and it's just because of the shrinkage of the gaskets. So it's nothing catastrophic, but at the same time, I got back in touch with the realtor. I said, do me a favor. You have to send me up a new seller's disclosure form, because I want to disclose that as this house has sat unoccupied for 2 years, I would advise that you not touch any of the fixtures, as they may leak beyond your control. Disclosing it fully took me off the hook as the power of attorney for my mother, but at the same time alerted everybody that this house is going to be as is. And this language, as is, may not really come to fruition because you don't know the condition as it currently stands. So, if I'm doing a house that's as is and there's a gas leak at one of the fittings, or another plumbing fixture is leaking, or who knows, there's something wrong structurally up in the attic, the purpose of an inspection is to redisclose any known defects. So having answers before you fill out your seller's disclosure form, you can now disclose that, yes, our overhead 100 amp service is worn. We're issued to enclosed as a quote for $500 towards the updating of a new one. We did fix the cracked drafter in the attic, and we fixed the leak under the hall tub. Now you've taken these potential negatives and made it a positive. And as everybody knows, whenever you present your home for sale, there's what I call the listing table. That's where any reports are going to be held, and also your seller's disclosure form. It's hard to have a little cake on your face if you knew about something but did not disclose it. Then it can become an issue. So at the same time, I advise my sellers, and we're doing quite a bit of these pre-listing inspections is to use it as a tool. Have your clients or your potential buyer read the report, but at the same time, they can't use the report to purchase your home. You want to make sure that your buyer has an independent evaluation from their own professional inspector. And keep in mind that these pre-listing inspections can get a little bit dated. So when I get a call from a client saying I want to get this done, my first question is, when are you preparing to put the house on the market? Well, we're going to get the house dressed up. We want to paint it, not for maybe another 6 months. I said, to the client, then at that point, I'd like you to call me back when you're a week out from presenting the listing. Then you're going to have accurate information. I believe an inspection report has a lifespan of about 6 months, and your home, especially with a pre-listing inspection being conducted, is going to sell well faster than a home without one. What are the costs? And a good appraisal should run anywhere between maybe $300 to $500, depending on the complexity of the home. Of course, the more square footage, the longer it's going to take for the appraiser to go room by room and complete the measurements, plus the pros and cons of each location. So as everybody knows, time is money. What's a home inspection run? Again, for us, it depends on the age, the square footage. So I typically tell clients an average home inspection runs between $400 to $500. I can talk on this one for days, and I guess my half hour is up. But Barry, as you know, it's Sunday. Please spend time with friends and family. And next week, again, we're going to delve into that email box and answer some questions from my listeners. So, Barry, I'll let you take it over from here, sir.
Okay. Well, listen, tune in, everybody. Next week, the email box will be open. Tune in for another edition of the House Whisperer Show with professional home inspector Jack Milne. And you can listen to previous programs, or if you have any questions, visit thehousewhisperershow.com. I'm Barry Reisman. Thank you so much for listening to WWDB Talk 860. La, la, la.